Would I like to have a better relationship? Would I like to enhance my life? Do I have to buy into the beliefs and the attitudes that have been passed on to me verbally, with good intentions perhaps, but are they helping me? And if they are, great. If they're not, if it's something that you would like to start to change, then we'll start to use a couple of concepts, a couple of things. One is goal setting. And you know, we're goal setting every day, all the time. And we're goal setting whether we realize it or not. We're goal setting as soon as we wake up in the morning. We're goal setting all day. And for the most part, unfortunately, we're goal setting in the wrong direction. We're thinking about what we don't want. Now, our self-talk is going on maybe 2,000 or 3,000 words a minute, maybe faster, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 words a minute. We can only talk out loud maybe 200 or 300 or 400 words a minute. So many times, 10, 15, 20 times faster, are we talking out loud, with our self-talk, with our mind chatter, daydream self-talk, than we are out loud. Now, really what I want you to do is just get the big picture. The exact number of words that we're speaking out loud, it could vary from, a few hundred to maybe 300 or 400. When we're thinking and talking to ourselves, it could be going many thousands. So I just want you to get the big picture of this. Don't hold me to the exact number, okay? I want you to start to understand that, unfortunately, a lot of our self-talk is negative. Dr. Viktor Frankl estimated that the average person's self-talk is somewhere between 60, maybe 70 or 80% negative. And I'm not talking about the people, that you try to say good morning to and those people are way off the charts, right? So I'm talking about most of us, you and I, and how we talk to ourselves all the time. Now, if 60, 70, 80% of our thoughts are negative, what I mean by that is, unfortunately, thinking about what we don't want in our life. And the analogy I came up with is, when you go to a grocery store, do you ever write down a list of things that you don't want to get at the grocery store? It'd be a long list, wouldn't it? Good night. You'd be at home writing out the list of things you don't want forever, wouldn't you? Fran, you had a question?
Yes, Dr. Will. I must admit that I have some difficulty procrastinating. And I don't want to be a procrastinator. How can you suggest to me that I use the self-talk to maybe help me not to have this always procrastinating, always putting things off?
Okay, very good question. And really you said it right there. I don't want to be a procrastinator. Let's go back to our grocery store list. And what is it that you do want? I want to be effective at time management. I want to use my time well. I enjoy what I'm doing. So go ahead and take it from I don't want to what is it that you do want. Does that help?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
When you start to think about what you don't want, I want you, it's okay if you want to, if you want to write down things that you don't want in your life, that's fine. But I want you to come back over here and especially in your workbook, when we get into actually writing out and deciding what your goals are going to be in the different areas of your life. I'm going to help and instruct you, and I promise you, if you will do everything that's in these two books, the reading is primarily in the textbook, and there's some work that you need to do in that. And I say work, but do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself. You really do. This workbook is so valuable. I want you to treat this workbook like it's a brand new laptop. Would you leave that laptop just sitting around any place in a crowded airport or in a restaurant and get up and leave and walk away from it? No. I want you to treat this like it's $100 bills. And the reason is that this is going to be very personal. This is going to be your goals, things that you want to change and enhance in your life. Now, I am trying to convince you that you can change. And I want you to believe that you can change. And when you start to venture out and open this book and start to try it, you're spilling your guts. You're really making yourself very vulnerable. And we do not need anybody to come along and look at it. This is yours. This is your private. I want you to even put this is the property, and put your name right in there. This is yours. And I want you to keep it very under lock and key. Nobody needs to see this. The only people that you might want to show it to are people that you really do trust and that you really feel like will try to help you with your goals. And if you have somebody that you can really trust and you're trying to lose a little weight, then let them know, hey, I want to knock off a few pounds here. Can you help me, you know? But too many times, if we share our goals with other people, you find out who your real friends are. And some of the people that you may have thought were your friends may not be that excited to see you change. And they may want to keep you back with them. And thank goodness, many years ago, I finally got off the sofa that I was sitting at from college, and I left my buddies. And I'm not sure if they've left that sofa yet. Some of them may. But you know what that sofa was? It was full of sarcasm. It was full of ridicule. It was full of putting each other down. In order for me to survive on that sofa, I participated in that. And it's a yucky feeling. And you know, Gwen, when we took a break a few moments ago, you were saying it's amazing how when you start to change your self-talk and you start to develop this awareness, it actually has a really good feeling.
A wonderful positive feeling. You can feel your body change.
Exactly.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, you can actually feel your body changing for the better. So this is exciting. And you know, you can, and in here you start to set out your goals for your health. I want you to be very careful what television programs you watch, okay? What radio music you're listening to. Who are your friends? And are those things really helping you? You know, you say, oh, well, you know, it's just music in the background. Your subconscious mind is picking up those words. It's just a TV program. We're picking up a lot of those things. So I want you to really pay attention to what is in your world, what's in your environment, and what you've been allowing into your world and into your environment. One of my clients is a dear friend, and he's got an architectural firm. And this lady, a very nice lady, she showed me her goals. She said, Dr. Will, I'd like to show you my goals. And she went over to her purse and picked out of her purse her goals. And her first goal was, I don't want to be depressed. Her second goal was, I don't want to be a nuisance to my boss. Guess what? And I said, all right, let's try something here for a moment. And I looked back over her desk and I said, are you online? And she said, yes. And I said, well, let's go to a search engine and let's type in, I don't want to be depressed. And we hit send. Guess how many responses came back? Over 700,000 responses. And what did the search engine pick up on? I don't want to be depressed. And the word depressed is what it picked up on. Now I said, okay, what's the opposite of I don't want to be, well, I want to be happy. I said, let's try typing that in. We hit send, and guess how many responses came back? Over 10 million.
That's good.
Over 10 million. And I looked at it, I said, you've got friends either place. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to hang out with? And see, what happens is, unfortunately, we will use our search engine and we will ask it the wrong questions, and we're sending it out on the wrong missions. And we'll say things like, well, why am I so stupid? You know, why am I so fat? Why am I so, and we ask the wrong question. And guess what our search engine does? It runs out there and comes back and says, well, because, and gives you the reinforcement. And see, it's a vicious cycle. We're not stopping that vicious cycle. We're just perpetuating it. So what we want to do is start asking the right questions. Start asking, okay, now you got to be careful with this one. Because if you go around saying, why am I so handsome? Why am I so great? Why am I so physically fit? You're going to make people go, I don't want to be around you. So we've got to be very careful. But I want you quietly to ask yourself those kinds of questions. And again, with your workbook, start to goal set in the different areas. And in this, we have you start to think about what areas that you would like to change, and venture into. And let me mention something to you that when I was finishing graduate school, I went around asking people that I admired and respected, what should I do? Now that I'm out of school, what should I do? And everybody had an opinion. You know, they all told me what they thought I should do. And finally, Vern Eccles, a beautiful man that owned a restaurant in Oklahoma City, and he looked at me and he says, Jim, he says, what do you want to do? And boy, did he throw me a curve. I was actually too embarrassed. I was out of my comfort zone. I was actually too embarrassed to tell him what I really did want. Because I thought, me? I don't deserve that. You know, that's only reserved for special people. Now, what I want you to do is to start thinking, what is it that you really do want? What kind of health do you want? What kind of prosperity do you want? What kind of family do you want? What kind of children do you want? And I know you might be sitting there thinking, Jim, do you really think that's possible? I know it is. I know it is. And I want you to try that. And we're helping you to go right through this guidebook. And again, it's more than just positive thinking. It works fine, but we're deliberately and specifically realizing how our own thoughts, our own self-talk has been affecting me, has been affecting you, has been affecting all of us, and how we can start to deliberately start to change areas that we want. Can we do it in 15 days? I know we can. Like I mentioned, Carlton Fisk, right after 30 minutes, I had an instructor from Dale Carnegie come up, and she said, you know, Dr. Will, and this was after our first break in a seminar, she said, you just helped me to solve a problem that I've been working on for years. Now, she never did tell me the problem. I didn't ask. She never told me the problem. She never told me the solution. But yes. Now, there was a situation that was critical in her world, and with helping her to understand the toolkit, helping her to understand how our self-talk controls and manages and how we can start to change that, then all of a sudden she was able to change something that was very, very important to her. Now, again, if you will go through this entire workbook, it's extremely valuable. On page 43, the personal change assessment. And read the instructions, and this would be a very good time for you to go ahead and again turn off the television set or the video or the computer and look on page 43. After you've written down what it is that you want to change in 15 days on each of your life areas, and then assess your goals and ask yourself some of these questions. The first one, do I really want this change or enhancement to take place? Yes, no, maybe, or not sure. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, I'm just not sure right now. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If you say, yes, I really do want to make that change, good. And if you say, no, I really don't want to make that change, that's fine too. Just be honest with yourself. Because we want to make this easy on you, and as long as you feel like you gotta change, guess what's going to happen? It ain't going to happen. So what we want to do is to figure out that, wait, I don't have to do that. I don't have to change. If somebody else is wanting me to change, hey, maybe eat a little humble pie and say, well, yeah, I think they're right. Maybe I could change in that area. Maybe I need to change or I want to change. But try to listen to what you're saying. And the goals that will take place quicker and easier are the ones that you decide you want to change. For years, people have said, Jim, can you help me to stop smoking? And I say, well, do you want to stop smoking? And guess what? Well, not really. Fine, keep smoking, you know? And as soon as you decide you're ready to change, then you probably, as long as you've got the toolkit, as long as you start to understand that, hey, this is how I start to make changes take place. Now, I'm not going to go through all these, but is the goal or change your idea? Is it something that you've come up with, or is it something somebody else wants you to do? So go through on each of your goals and answer honestly these questions, these questions that will help you to decide, you know, are you really ready to make this change in your life? And if you are, great. If you're not, then set it aside and come back to it when you're ready. Something else that's going to be very, very valuable to you in attaining your goals is a concept referred to as visualization. And you kind of think, well, visualization, well, it's becoming more and more popular, especially amongst athletes. And athletes have told me over and over again, the way that they mentally prepare for a contest is that they will go ahead and they'll see themselves performing it, not once, not twice, maybe many, many, many times. Wouldn't it be helpful to you if you get just a little edge in life? And whether it be in business or in a relationship, not necessarily a relationship in terms of having an edge over the person that you're having that relationship with, but let's just think in terms of having an edge in life in general. There was a baseball player many years ago, and he would sit and file his cleats before a game. And why was he doing that? Well, one was to get better traction, and the other thing was to intimidate the other players. And he had that edge over the competition. A person that's very fascinating to me, and I get to work with her, is Erica Enders. Now, you may have seen her on the Disney Channel. She is one of the race car drivers for the National Hot Rod Association, and she has just gone into a category called Pro Stock, and no woman has ever qualified in this particular category. Now, think about the edge that she needs in her competitive sport. 1001 is 1 second. That is 5/10 of a second. Her races are won or lost in 1/1000th of a second. Yes, that's 5/10 of a second. And the races are won or lost in 1/1000th of a second. Now you think about that. That is just like a hair. So she is constantly, and her father Greg and I are good friends, and he refers to me as her performance psychologist.
Oh.
And anything, they are constantly doing anything that they can to get that 1/1000th of a second. That's the difference between a national championship. And you talk about self-talk. Can you